the shadows, it's Nicko on the mic. Milanista report, we break it down right. For the culture, for the tactics, for the game. AC Milan, forever repping the name. It's Nicko in the booth, bringing truth to the scene. Milanista report, freshest vibe you ever seen. When it comes to defense, ain't nobody sharper. Breaking down duels like I'm Paulo's partner. Maldini on the line, that's where it all starts. Tactical knowledge, hitting hard like street smarts. Every episode, man, is deeper than the stats. I'm dropping game plans like I'm playing with the cats. Rustling every pride, this ain't no side hustle. Analyzing plays with that mob deep muscle. From the back line to the final third press, it's all love from Milan, ain't no second guess. The Milanista report, the realest in the game. Nicko with the knowledge, always stay inflamed for the love of Milan. Paulo's name and lights, we the source for tactics, always taking flight. Milanista report, ain't no doubt it's the best. We breaking down the system, every move we assess. From the defensive grind to the team's attack, Nicko got your back with that Rossoneri tack. Yo, it's deeper than just watching the goals and the hype. We study every battle, the defensive type. From Maldini to Baresi, I break down the flow. Nicko in the cut, giving y'all the real show. This podcast ain't a game, it's a masterclass. Peep the backline setups, every tackle, every pass. Other pods just talk, but they miss the details. We focus on the struggle where the legends prevail. Talking Paulo Maldini, the heart of the club. Ain't no faking the passion, this love ain't a dub. I'm the voice of the fans, for the love of the crest. They see Milan forever, we only rock with the best. With Milanista report, the realest in the game. Nicko with the knowledge, always stay flame. For the love of Milan, Paulo's name and lights. We the source for tactics, always taking flight. Milanista report, ain't no doubt it's the best. We breaking down the system, every move we assess. From the defensive grind to the team's attack, Nicko got your back with that Rossoneri tack. Other pods, nah, they just scratching the surface. Nicko go deep, showing y'all the purpose. AC Milan ain't just about winning the race, it's about structure, unity, and defensive grace. So tune in, get schooled by the best in the game. Milanista report, steady rising in fame. Nicko repping hard for the red and the black. Paulo's spirit lives on and we never look back. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista report, the voice of the streets.
What's going on, Rosaneri, Milanisti? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Milan Nation. It's your host, Nicko, with a very special Champions League preview show. All right, everybody in the chat. Looks like we got 2 listeners right now. Do me a favor, like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give you support for the channel. We appreciate that, Milan Nation. All right. With that being said, let's get this show on the road. Here we go. So we got Bayern Leverkusen against Milan coming up. The second game, Champions League game, right? Obviously, we lost the first game against Liverpool 3-1. Didn't have a great performance. However, since then, Fonseca has made some changes defensively with the team. More importantly, with that, he's stuck with that. A new starting 11 with Fofana and Reindeers in the middle, with that double pivot on that 4-2-4 compact defense. It's looking pretty solid right now. All right. Also, looks like we got he's starting center back pairing with Gabbia and Tomori. He might have lost a little bit of trust with Pavlic, being that Gabbia is more stable. So we're noticing the differences. Obviously, there's just been a couple of games. We beat, Lecce, Inter, You know, so we're on a bit of a winning streak locally in Syria, but Champions League is a whole different game. All right, I want to get into that matchup on today's show. All right, so let's start off with our opponent, Bayern Leverkusen. Currently, I believe they're in third place in the Bundesliga. All right, let's take a quick peek here. Yep, they're in third. They're currently in fourth place with 10 points. They've scored 14 goals. They let up 10 goals. So they're leaking goals. So right now they're not looking that great either. This season, last season, they had this unbelievable season last year. Obviously, because, they went undefeated in the Bundesliga. They won their first Bundesliga title in a long time. They surprised everybody. Obviously, they got exposed in their Europa League final against Atlanta and Gasperini's team, right? That man-to-man press worked, and they weren't expecting that. They were taken out of their game, their best players. And, obviously, that's what happened, and they lost 3-0, I believe, right? That was the final score. So, in this season, I think things are starting to even out for Leverkusen. Bayern is having a really good start to the season. They got, 4 wins, 1 draw, right? They've scored 17 goals, let up only 4 goals. And you got Eintracht Frankfurt in second. Leipzig is playing pretty well as well. And then you got Leverkusen in fourth place early on. And obviously us right now, where we stand in Serie A, we are currently, it's a kind of a free fall right now, right? In Serie A, we won. Currently, Napoli's in first place with 13, Juve with 12, us with 11, Inter with 11, Torino with 11, and Empoli with 6. Right? And to compare some of the stats between us and our opponent from this coming game, all right, we've scored 14 goals and gave up 7. The goal difference of 7. So like I said, we were leaking goals last few games, but then last 2 games of that 4-2-4 compact defense, right, has really done wonders for us, right? Let's see if we can continue that into the Champions League game, obviously, right? That's the big test. That's the big test, Milan Nation. Let's take a look at something else really quick. So let's get into some other really interesting stats here. Let's see who's in the chat, first of all. If you're in the chat, give us your thoughts on the game coming up. This is a huge test. We need to win this game against Bayern Leverkusen. If you have any chance of us finishing in, the top 16, whatever it is, and making some noise in Champions League, obviously our chances of winning it is slim. Obviously, like Real Madrid's the favorites, got to be Man City. Those teams definitely got to be the favorites right now. Let's take a look. Champions League game. Let's see what time the game is real quick here, fellas. Let's see what the matchups are tomorrow. So tomorrow's schedule, let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule, and then we get to some defensive stats for Milan and Leverkusen. Salzburg is playing tomorrow against Stade Brest. Stuttgart, Sparta Prague. Slovenia, Bratislava, Man City. Man City should easily win that game. Then we have Barcelona Young Boys. That's going to be a good game. Dortmund Celtic. Eindhoven Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal PSG. And then you have us. Inter's playing tomorrow too against Fernandesveda. And then you have Leverkusen, Milan tomorrow at 2 p.m. And so far, the odd makers looks like they have Leverkusen winning this game. Leverkusen had a tough game the other day. I mean, they didn't credit to their head coach, all right, Alonso, for not really going out. They went for that tie, right? They were happy going with that 1-1 tie against Bayern Munich the other day. Looks like they were saving their gas tank of their players for this matchup against Milan. That's what it looks like to me. So, tail of the tape. Let's get into some. So, let's look at Leverkusen's. They've played 5 games. They've let up 10 goals, like we said. An XG of 5.78. Goals versus XG, for all your stat nerds out there, 4.22. They've allowed 64 shots on target 23. Shots XC per shot, 0.9. Shots in the box, 56%. Goals in the box, 70%. Now let's get into Milan. We've played 6 games. We've allowed 7, like we said, XG of 6.26. Stat nerds, shots, we've allowed 58. Shots on target 25. That's 12%. XG per shot, 0.11. Sorry, guys, there's some cat outside. It's always out and about. There's an interesting stats here. Shots in the box, 56.90%. Goals in the box, 100. So every shot that team has taken within our box, our 18 box, right, 18-yard box, has gone in. Right? You know, that's one thing we've noticed the last couple of games. Even though we won in our games, like even Inter had a couple of good chances. All right. We had some good opportunities. If it wasn't for Gabia stepping up, or even Fofana backtracking, Theo as well playing good defense, and Mike making some really timely saves. And in some cases, the other team wasn't clinical, right, with their shots. Things might have been different so far for us. All right. We still have some issues in the back. Let's look at set piece defense. This is something was a concern of last season, right? We've allowed 0 goals, amazingly. Wow, didn't expect that. Shots, 12. So, listen, so far so good. Our set piece defense has been, much better than the last 2 seasons. Doesn't mean even under Pioli, right? That was an issue with Pioli. Well, we gave up a lot of set piece goals. I mean, that was in the Champions League. We gave up 2, right, against Liverpool. Identical goals, headers, obviously. Being that we were playing in that zonal marking. It looks like in the last game, Fonseca, well, let's not credit 100% of Fonseca. It's his assistant coach, Ferreira, right, who set up the defense at Lille, who's setting up the defense now at Milan, right? That's one thing that's not being talked about enough is assistant coaches, and a lot of teams have a lot to say, especially with defense. Ferreira with Milan, and even with Real Madrid, Carlo's not responsible for that defensive schemes. It's his son who does all the analysis, reviewing previous games and whatnot, and he helps his father set up defense on a really big game, especially when they beat Man City last season. That was all the assistant coach. That was on credit to Carlos' son. So with Milan, it's Ferrara setting up this defensive formations, right? Set pieces, our mid block, our high press, changing it to a 4-2-4, things like that. That's on him, right? So let's get into Leverkusen set pieces, right? Some fun stats. They've allowed 2 goals so far, right? Looks like, which is pretty even. Bayern Munich's allowed 1. Dortmund 2, Frankfurt 1, Wolfsburg 5. Christ, that's a ton. And let's look at what miscellaneous stats real quick for our opponent. Offsides, penalties, they've given up 0. Free kick shots, 2. Free kick goals, 0. Headed shots, they've given up 7. Headed goals, 2. So it's something we might be exposed, right? Is there headers, something their aerial prowess, something we might take advantage of during this game. Because they've allowed 2 headed goals so far. And also allowed 4 fast break shots, but no fast break goals. So they're giving up some open opportunities in the open play, right? Fast breaks. So it's something we might be looking to counter with, with Leao and Pulisic, right? And maybe Abraham on the counter attack, and Leao obviously as well. And obviously with the aerial prowess, something we can take advantage of. They're giving up some headed goals too, with Gabia, obviously, right, being dangerous, or Pavlic if he plays some minutes. Now with us, we've allowed 11 headed shots, 1 headed goal in Serie A, 2 in Champions League. Fast break shots, 4. So we're obviously in the beginning of the season, we were vulnerable to the counterattacks. We played that high line. And then man-to-man press. We'll get to that in a minute, why that's changed a bit since those first couple of games. We're not playing man-to-man anymore on the high press. And fast break goals, 1. All right, that was early in the season. So this is something Leverkusen probably is going to try to look to exploit as well with their fast players like Wirtz and those guys, right, that they have up on the field. Hey guys, I see 7 people in the chat. All right, that's a good start. All right, Milan Nation, give us your thought. I want to hear your thoughts on the game. What do you think our chances of beating Bayern Leverkusen? Do we have a really good shot? Do you think we're gonna, of having our first win? Who do you think the scoreline is going to be like? Our best player is going to be who's going to take for us to win that game, right? Does Leao need to step up, continue playing well, Pulisic, and get me your thoughts on your possible starting 11. Obviously, there's no official starting 11 yet because it's too early, right? Because we don't play till tomorrow. So there might be some rumors out there, but that might change, obviously, during game day. So give me your thoughts, all right? Everybody in the chat. Now, the other thing I wanted to get into real quick, let me clear my throat, apologies. Is some interesting things about Leverkusen. So they have, like I said, they have to have some dangerous players, some matchups that we need to consider, right? Let me pull up their last game and see what they started. So they had a 1-1 against Bayern Munich. And where is it? It doesn't have it here. Well, Microsoft Bing sucks. I should go to Google. Leverkusen. All right, let's see. This is much better. A lineup. So it looks like they play a 3-4-2-1 the last game. So the players you got to look at is Boniface, is their main striker. Wirtz, Grimaldo on the left side with Wirtz as well. Frimpong, another dangerous. Grimaldo and Frimpong are 2 very dangerous wing backs. Xhaka in the middle, right? He controls the tempo of the game for them, right? In their back line, they have a really good back 3 as well. They have Hinapki and Tapsoba, right? So with that being said, Boniface, their striker. Key matchup between our center backs, right? With probably most likely, I'm guessing Tomori and Gabia, our boy Gabia. So Boniface has been involved in 3 goals in Bundesliga's match for the second time. Right? Only Gurusai and Harry Kane 4 times have done it so much more often since Nigerians moved to Bundesliga. So Boniface has been involved in 3 goals in Bundesliga's matches for the second time. So he's a really valuable player for Leverkusen. Dangerous player, gets involved in a lot of goal scoring opportunities and goals for Leverkusen. Really responsible for, you know, the scoring goals for them, obviously. Also, Florian Wirtz, we just talked about, right? Super dangerous player. Plays in the German national team, I believe, as well. He's the first ever German player to score 2+ goals on his UEFA Champions League debut. So, obviously, they had a good starting. The first game, Bayern Leverkusen, they won their first match, right, in the Champions League. I believe the score line was that for that game. Let's see, was this game? Oh, damn, they smacked Feyenoord 4-0. All right, so they might be struggling a little bit in Bayern in Germany, but man, they started off with some serious firepower in their first match, 4-0 against Feyenoord. Feyenoord's not a powerhouse of a team, obviously, right? But scoring 4 goals against anybody in Champions League is impressive. So things we need to look at, right? And Words, like I said, he plays on that left side of Leverkusen, which is they're one of the strongest up, but they're a very balanced team, extremely balanced team. All right, now let's get into some defensive stuff as well. So current in their last game, Leverkusen is playing in a 5-3-2 mid block. All right, so they're stacking the back line with 5 in their mid block. All right, three midfielders and 2 up front, which turns into a 5-4-1 low block. All right, doing a good job closing the middle. All right, this is something they did against Bayern Munich, so they forced Bayern to go wide. So if we see the same kind of defensive formation against us, this is something, they're going to try to take away Tijani, obviously, pushing the ball up, and Fofana progressing the ball as well. All right, something we did against Inter, we forced them to go wide. We closed the middle, we took Hakan away, and there were other midfielders, and we forced Inter to go wide, again, that derby. So if Bayern Leverkusen goes with the same defensive schemes, let's see if we can break this mid block, and if they go to a low block, all right, because they're going to try to, that's the case, they're going to try to hit us on a counterattack, all right, with their fast wing backs, and obviously up front as well with Boniface, who's got some speed. So something that Fonseca and our team needs to be, concerned about, well, ready for, I should say, as well. And how can we break that low block? If they go into that 5-4-1 low block, can our players break it? Especially if they force us to go wide. Can Pulisic, can Leao be creative enough? Can they find that space? Especially with Leao and Theo, can they find that space on the left side of the pitch where they're most dangerous and find that relationship between each other? Those 1-2s, the overlaps, underlaps, and see if they can create some havoc on the left side. Same thing for Pulisic as well. All right, are we going to beat that low block? That's something we've had a hard time in the past, especially against those mid-level, lower-level teams in Serie A that hit in that low block, park the bus, and try to hit us on the counterattack. Let's see what's going on with the chat. All right, hold on here. Okay, just froze up. Apologies for that, guys. All right, cool. So that's Bayern Leverkusen's defensive formation. Either it's going to be a 5-3-2 mid block, or which turns to a 5-4-1 low block. All right. Now Milan. So the last few games we've seen our team playing a 4-2-4. Well, we start off at a 4-4-2, right, on the ball. But once we're out of position, we go into a 4-2-4. All right, we're trying to, those four forwards, right, with Leao, Morata, Abraham, Pulisic, they're trying to pressure the back line of the other team to make mistakes. All right, that's what's really set up for. It also gives the wingers opportunity to jump on the opposition's fullback. So Leao, when he's on his game, defensively, when he's motivated, and Pulisic, who works pretty well off the ball. This is a good opportunity for the wingers in that 4-2-4 press to jump on the fullbacks. So they do have good fullbacks, Bayern Leverkusen. They're very good with the ball, very comfortable with their 1v1 skills. So this is something that's going to be an interesting matchup, right, with that case. Is Pulisic and Leao are able to cause havoc enough on their talented fullbacks to make mistakes and get the ball back or slow down their buildup, right? And will our double pivots continue to work hard, especially for Fofana, and close up that middle of the field and take Xhaka away? Because Xhaka, the reason why I said Leverkusen lost their game against Atlanta last season, because they took Xhaka away. So if we're able to take Xhaka away, that'll be really detrimental. It's going to take away a lot of opportunities for Leverkusen to build up and get into their attack, right? And move the ball up quickly. All right, so let's see that 4-2-4 in action, see if we can still keep it compact, right? But also, this is something that we need to see how we're going to fall back on the mid block. Well, before we get into the mid block, one thing that I wanted to really point out, that's something needs to be addressed. So, beginning of the season, we were in a man-to-man press early on, and teams took advantage of that because all 10 players were not pressing, now marking their man. All right, we got exposed a couple of times. Even against Inter, on that one scoring opportunity, we didn't work as a unit. Right? We weren't hunting like a pack of wolves. We gave Barella that space. He hit that switch up to Marco, and that's how they scored their goal. Right? Obviously, Royale didn't do his job either. He decided not to mark the Marco, right? Which allowed Martinez for that one-touch pass, right? That through ball for that goal. But we're not playing man-to-man. We're not playing zonal either. We're playing a hybrid system right now. Something I didn't expect to see from Fonseca and his assistant coach, Ferreira. I didn't realize he had it in his pocket, something he was able to do. But in the last two games, we're seeing more of a hybrid press from Milan. All right, so it gives us a little bit more options, right? The reason why it's a hybrid, not man-to-man or zonal, because if you remember that goal for Pulisic against Inter, where was he? He was in the middle of the pitch, and we got that from the counter press. If it was a man-to-man, he would be sitting on either marking his man, or if it was zonal, like some people think it was, which it wasn't, which they're not right on that case. He would have been on the right side of the pitch, Pulisic, where he's supposed to be, right? Covering that side of that zone, the outside of the field. So it's a 4-4-2-4 hybrid press for now. All right. Something that I'm guessing we're still going to see during this game against Bayern Leverkusen. It's really a big matchup. All right. And how we're going to do in the mid block? Are we going to fall into a traditional 4-4-2 mid block if the press is beaten, or what? Like I've been seeing the last couple of games, we're still in that 4-2-4. We still keep that same shape on the mid block when the teams beat our press. All right, it's going to be, like I said, if we stick to a 4-2-4 in the mid block, our midfielders need to work extremely hard. Fofana especially needs to continue playing well, backtracking, trying to win balls in the middle of the field from Xhaka as well. That's going to be a good matchup too. Really good matchup with those two guys. Because Fofana's been playing really well, and Xhaka is Xhaka, right? He's one of the better midfielders in the game. And, right, we're going to take away those third man runs. We're going to be able to, mark players in the box when we go to a mid block, either a 4-2-4 mid block or your traditional 4-4-2 mid block, right? If the press is beaten. All right. So let's see what Fonseca does. If he just continue with that hybrid press, go back to man, or let's see. And, we'll see on tomorrow's game what Fonseca and Ferrara has planned defensively for Bayern Leverkusen, right? Because I do hope he sticks with what's been working the last two games. Or if he's able to change things up, if things are not working our way early on in the game and we're down a goal or 2 goals, for example, hopefully not. How is he going to change Fonseca's plan? We'll be able to make in-game decisions, tactical decision changes, because Alonso's a really good tactical coach, right? It was no fluke that they went undefeated last season, Leverkusen. That's not a fluke at all. Let's see what's going on with the chat. Hey, Carmelo, good seeing you again, pal. All right, hey, safe travels off to Spain. Oh, that's gorgeous, man. You're lucky, huh? Beautiful. Enjoy your trip, Carmelo. Yes, in Forza Milan. So let's look at some key matchups here. So we talked about it earlier a little bit. All right, so we talked about the defense. So key matchups. So the first one is got to be Boniface with our center backs. Who's going to be marking him? If we're going to a zonal, most likely, depending what side of the field Boniface is going to be heading towards. He's going to be drifting to the left or the right. So it's going to be either Tomori, Gabia. That's the first key matchup. Second one is Wirtz on the left and Grimaldi. So Fofana probably going to play on that left side of that double pivot. I'm guessing. I would assume. And then you have Royale, Emerson Royale. So again, our right side looks like it's going to be focused on, it's going to be targeted by Leverkusen, where it's in Grimaldi. Maybe look at it, pick on Emerson, see if he makes any mistakes, if he doesn't pick up any runners. You'll see Grimaldo coming up from that wingback position. All right. But on the other side too, so you have Fofana versus, either Wirtz, or it's going to be, that's typical, or is he going to pick up Xhaka? We'll see. I don't know. But Wirtz going to be making those third man runs into the box, or Grimaldi, depending on how they play, Leverkusen. So let's see how Emerson Royale and our Other side, either obviously Fofana or Pulisic is going to be dropping back as well, helping out on defense. That's those key matchup on the left side. And on the right, it's going to be Frimpong interior with Hernandez and Tomori and Tijani on that right side. And obviously, let's see if Leao will be able to backtrack and play defense and pick up one of those players. Because I said they scored 4 goals in their first Champions League game. Leverkusen, that's not a fluke at all, boys. All right, they got some serious firepower with these players. All right, so those are the key matchups for them, for us defensively. Now, on the other side, the flip side, with Leao, you have Frimpong who's got space, who's got pace, and Tapsoba. I'm not familiar with Tapsoba. So that's that key matchup on that one side of the field. On the other side, you have Pulisic with Hnapki. Really good left back. Not as great as Theo is, but he's up there. He's top 5. And he's a very strong defensive player, and he's good on the ball as well. All right, so that's the key matchup on the right side. And obviously you have Tijani, and then you got who's going to be picking up Tijani? The Xhaka covering him should be a good matchup as well. In terms of our we could play 2 in the front, 2 forwards like we've been doing, which I said it's not sustainable over a long season because we only have 2 quality strikers on the team. All right, if one of them gets hurt, we have Jovic come off the bench, which is a huge drop off. So it's going to be, it's going to be either Andrix or Xhaka and Ta. Ta for sure is going to be picking up one of the forwards, either Abraham or Morata, depending on how they play, right, where they're drifting on the fields, where they're positioned, right, on Leverkusen's back line. And that's another key matchup as well. So, Leverkusen is a well-balanced team. We're pretty well-balanced at this point. The last several games, we've shown that. So it's going to be a really good game. It should be a very competitive game. But it's going to come down to who wants it more. All right. And whose defense is able to slow down the other team's defense, the other team's offense, I should say. That's the huge one. Because if we're able to stay compact on that 4-2-4 and drop black on that press and cause them some little bit of confusion and make some mistakes, when the ball's back higher up the pitch, right, and score a couple of goals and get some really good shots early on, some really good uncontested shots, that's going to change. That's going to be a really good start for us. Or will Leverkusen be able to break our press, move the ball up, find the time and space, those openings between the lines, and put 1 or 2 beyond the net. All right, so we went through Milan's defense versus Bayern Leverkusen defense, right? Some stats as well. It's the formations that Bayern Leverkusen has been playing recently, right? And then we went over Milan's defense as well, the hybrid high press that we've been seeing the last 2 games. The key matchups we just went over right now, things to look at on tomorrow's game. And things that we need to do to win this game, right? If our press works, our hybrid press, our counter press works, and if we're able to slow down Leverkusen's high octane offense, we have a octane offense as well, right? So, like I said, should make for a really interesting game tomorrow. Now, questions from our listeners. All right. Let's hear it. I want to get your thoughts on tomorrow's matchup, boys. Everybody in the chat, women as well. If anybody's in the chat, any females, Milanisti out there, give us your thoughts on the game. All right. If you have any questions for me or any feedback, any criticisms about my analysis, anything like that, I'm open for it. All right. Unlike some other people. All right, looks like it's a pretty quiet chat. You guys are not up for it. Maybe it's too early for you. Maybe you guys haven't had your espresso yet. Listen, I've been up since, what time is it now? It's 7 a.m. my time. I got up at 5:30 this morning to get ready for this pod because it's the only time I get a chance to do it. I can't do a pod later in the day because by the time I get off of work, my kid's home from school. And, you know, it's really hard. If you're a parent, if you got kids, you know what I mean. All right. She always wants to come to the room. I got to spend time with her, obviously, as well. Hang out with my kid. You know, and obviously with my wife as well. And at night, it's difficult as well. So these are the best hours for me. Super early in the morning. All right, there's nothing else. All right, thanks again, everybody, for tuning into the show. I know it's super early for everybody, but I appreciate you tuning in wherever you're from. If you're from, you know, New York, East Coast, if you're from the West Coast of the United States, Europe. You know, we got some European listeners as well. Just like Let's Talk Milan. And yeah, that's it. All right, listen, Milan Nation, thanks again for tuning in. Forza Milan, and just stay tuned because I have a new track, new song, especially for this Champions League game. All right, it's a good one. It's a banger. There we go.
Yeah, so the break. Fuck a frozen line, but the wall don't shake. Defense so strong, they feeling the weight. Milan coming through, it's the fate, no debate. Rolling up to Europe is the Champions League show. AC Milan ready, red and black in the glow. Leverkusen in the mix, but we coming to scrap. Tomori on lock, man, it's quick with the trap. Fofana got that muscle, moving folks out the way. Gabby in the back line, never letting them play. Royale, the new blood, tighten the stance. And Dio's burning turf, man, you ain't got a chance. Leverkusen press, but they stuck in our maze. We holding down the fort like it's always been this way. It's a battle, it's a war, who can keep it airtight? Milan defense locked, ready for the fight. Tail of the tape, who's gonna break? Leverkusen trying, but the wall don't shake. Defense so strong, they feeling the weight. Milan coming through, it's the fate, no debate. Up against the wall, but we cool and composed. Dio running wild while the defense stays froze. Gabby and Tamari, they got vision like hawks. You come through the middle, but they stopping the walk. Fofana taking hits, Royale ready to pounce. We shut down the space, not giving an ounce. Leverkusen sweat, but they ain't breaking through. This the red and black army, we know what to do. On the pitch, it's a clash, and we know what's at stake. But you can't win the war if your line ain't great. From the wings to the heart, Milan's fortress in place. Defense tighten it, it's a masterclass case. Tail of the tape, who's gonna break? Leverkusen trying, but the ball don't shake. Defense so strong, they feeling the weight. Milan coming through, it's the fate, no debate. Tail of the tape, who's gonna break? Leverkusen trying, but the wall don't shake. Defense so strong, they feeling the weight. Milan coming through, it's the fate, no debate. Tail of the tape, who's gonna break? Leverkusen trying, but the wall don't shake. Defense so strong, they feeling the weight. Milan coming through, it's the fate, no debate. Tail of the tape, who's gonna break? Leverkusen trying, but the wall don't shake. Defense so strong, they feeling the weight. Milan coming through, it's the fate, no debate. weight of the bruising, trying but the wall don't shake. They know what a bit's like. For the bait, the bruising, trying but the wall don't shake. The wall don't shake. The fence so strong, they feeling the weight of the bait.